Does it like tell you when it goes live, or I've
Yep.
never done one
Okay,
before?
we're live now.
Oh, we are?
It was just connecting for a second. Yeah, it takes a second. We are
Oh, I
live.
see us. Yeah.
Mm, yep.
Awesome.
Hey, Joanne, thank you for being here today. Thank you for everyone else for showing up.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. This is an unexpected surprise, but it's nice to be back online and connecting with everybody. I've been a little MIA for a little bit, but
Yeah,
everything is great.
why have you been MIA? We were talking about just a little bit, but what's been going on?
Yeah, I had a baby about
Yeah,
7 weeks ago.
yeah,
So,
congratulations.
yeah, thank you. It's been wonderful. He's our first and had a wonderful birth, and everything's just been great. We've just been hanging out at home together, taking care of him and being present. And
Nice.
yeah, it's been great.
I imagine I mean, I've always heard with births to not have any expectations with how it's gonna go and how it turns out. Was it that kind of way? Did it go as planned, or was it, all sorts of everything?
Well, there wasn't really a plan. So, in that sense, it didn't go as
That's
planned. But
great.
yeah, I also, yeah, didn't want to have expectations because I've heard, even if you plan, it's not going to go as planned. And also, I didn't want to have a bunch of expectations, and get in the mind and it should be this way and this is what it has to be like and all this stuff. Even, yeah, during the birth, the labor and everything, I was just focusing on being really present.
Mhm.
And I wasn't watching the clock to see, how many hours has it been, or because that means this, or this, it doesn't mean this, or it's been so long, and how much longer is there to go, because your mind just starts, this constant, stress, and that doesn't help anybody. So yeah, just being really present. But yeah, we had a home birth, with just my
Nice,
husband and I, which is
nice.
exactly what I wanted. And there were no problems. It was beautiful. It was easy. It was exactly, when you go back to nature and
Mhm,
God, how he designed everything, it's effortless.
mhm.
It's beautiful. And that's exactly how it was. So
Yeah, I was talking about this the other day, and as far as the biblical story of Adam and Eve being kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and Eve being told she would experience pain from childbirth, and it's like God, God's not forcing us to stay out of the garden. It's always available for us to go
mhm.
back into. We just have to truly go step onto this path and embody it in every way. We can't half-ass it and expect that it's going to get that way. But the more that we step onto that, the more that we can get back to that paradise where childbirth is just one example of something where we don't have to experience that pain and suffering. It's just a reminder of how far we've strayed and how we could come back to it. So thank you for embodying that, and thank you for
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
for
so
doing
true.
that.
That's my experience. All our, we know we create our suffering mostly by our wrong choices and, our mind taking thoughts. And when we eat right, yeah, even my pregnancy was just perfect, blissful, like, no problems, no pain, no discomfort. You hear all these horror stories. I would go on forums and I couldn't relate to anything because it was
Wow.
just so wonderful. And life just, rewards you when you put in the work
Yeah,
because you're aligning with the truth and going back to nature and how it was designed to be. So,
amazing.
um, yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, so for anyone tuning into this series for the first time, this is a new series that I'm doing where I want to get people within the community that are getting the word out there, spreading truth in their own way, and really doing being that lighthouse and give a little bit extra exposure, help people get their message out. So I brought JoAnne on today because she has been such a lighthouse. In every single chat that I'm in with her in the chats on YouTube, she's always spreading wisdom and sharing help with people and lending that support. And then she recently started her own YouTube channel where she's been really digging into the virtues and relationships and being present and things of that nature. So just really doing the work. So I want to commend you and appreciate you for that. But I want to give you a second to kind of give a little introduction for yourself and how you got to this space here now.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, you're the OG Lighthouse because you're like you pushed me to start my channel. Actually, it seems like so long ago when I would just was get everybody was talking about it and it just kept coming up and you're like there's no time like the present. I remember that very clearly. You said on one of the group chats and I was just like, oh crap, he's so right. Like the part of me that was like hesitant was like, no, okay, you have to do it now, like you've been called out. Yeah, so but yeah, and I made a whole video about, yeah, dealing with fears and, all the things that come up of, getting outside of your comfort zone. There's a fly flying around here. But
Just
yeah,
checking in.
thank you. So thank you for that. I mean,
You're
that's why I'm
welcome.
here. This amazing community just gave so much support and encouragement. And yeah, I love talking about the inner work, the journey. It's such a huge passion of mine. It has been for a very long time because I just realized you got to get the inner right for your life to work because I had so many problems. I was just plagued with, most of it was just because of the mind, like anxiety, depression, all these crazy thoughts and not knowing how to get rid of them. And also they were holding me back in my life. I've made a video about, I had problems with money. I had problems with relationships. I had problems with, like almost every area of life. And it was all from me, but I didn't know how to fix it. And I, realized you got to go within. Once I kind of got onto that path, it's just been something I just love. And now I'm at a place where I love to share it with other people. And I feel like I've gotten to a point where, I can share things and I can make some kind of contribution. And of course, as you know, it's just such a joy to be able to help people if you can, to be able to be that light. I like how you called this the Lighthouse series because it is shining a light. You still have to walk the walk and do the work, but at least you can see the path because other people who have gone ahead are shining that light and saying, come on, you can do it, and that's why I love our community, our family here. It's beautiful that we encourage each other. So yeah, so that's what my channel is. It's all about I love to be able to share my experiences, and I think the things that we've gone through, yeah, we can help other people. Um, and so yeah, so I've been doing a lot on the virtues. I love talking about relationships because relationships are such a challenge. They're one of our biggest opportunities for growth. And I know a lot of people have challenges either with their partner or dealing with, their kids, their family, their friends, especially now when there's this like, people waking up versus people not waking up, and it presents a real challenge. So any way we can help people on that, I want to focus on solutions, not the problem, because there is a solution, and it's this work that we're all doing.
Yeah, beautifully said. And it's relationships specifically, any type of relationship. We can do a lot of work on our own and we can really refine and hone in some things. And that's where we have to look and that's where we have to begin. But I see relationships as kind of this um, you know, uh, God saying, okay, are you really ready? Like, are you really ready to put all those to the test? You can
Hmm.
say you can do all these things. You can say you've done the inner work and you can be present and you can not be reactive and all these different things. But here comes your relationship with whomever, and it's like, okay,
Yeah,
here's where we test
exactly.
it.
It's so easy when you're like sitting by yourself and not dealing with other people, but then when others come into the picture, you start to realize, your judgments, your expectations. It helps you to grow, but there's also a great energy with the other person because you walking in your truth gives them an opportunity to grow. Of course, they may not take that opportunity, but that's not your responsibility. You're responsible for yourself and
Yep.
your energy. And when you are honest and truthful in a loving way, of course, it's going to benefit everyone. So important relationships for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and you touched on a good point of and this kind of ties in with the lighthouse concept of, we're not here to change anyone. We can only focus on ourselves.
Hmm.
And that really fits with the lighthouse concept of, the lighthouse doesn't move. It's a stationary object to provide a way forward for those ships passing through. And just as those lighthouses, we can't expect to move and reach people where they are. We have to let them come to us. And I love how you touch on that so much in your relationship talks because a lot of times we get stuck on this idea that I have to wake someone up, or I have to get them to see the truth, and I have to um, show it to them and force them to see it. But that ends up being counterintuitive and ends up being working against us in the long run. So could you expand on and talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I think we do have the desire to run out and help people, but we have to realize that we don't know what other people need. And just because something helped us wake up on our journey or has been important for us, it doesn't mean that that is for them on at where they're at in that time. It was for us in this time, and they may be at another area of their journey. So we have to really watch that. And we also have to watch where our motivation is coming from. A lot of us say, like, well, I'm motivated by love, but I know with myself, when I tried to change my husband, when I woke up around like veganism and health and eating plant-based, I wanted him to do it too. And I thought, like, well, it's for his own good. It's because I love him. But it was really my own fear of him getting sick or me losing him. So we have to be really vigilant of our inner world and know what's going on with that and see what is our real motivation for trying to change people. Is it really coming from love? Because if you truly love someone, you see where they're at, you accept where they are on their journey, you love them no matter what, and you don't try to, it's a kind of like an oppressive control to try and
Mm,
force them to change and be where you are. And it took a long time for you to get to where you're at, so you can't expect to just give this piece of information to someone and they'll change overnight. It's really unrealistic. And as far as, yeah, being able to reach people, that when they have a certain awareness or their vibration changes, they're going to find you, like kind of how I stumbled upon you and Charlie and then Josh. And like, I had no idea you guys were out there for months and months and months, but it was my time to find you guys. It was the next step. Life will bring you, these things, whether it's your mom forwarding you a YouTube video, which is what happened to me, or somebody saying, hey, come join this link, or maybe somebody shares this video today, um, and if it's your time, you will resonate and you'll connect and you will find exactly what you need for the next step of your journey. And you have to trust that your family and friends, if they're not there yet, they're finding that next thing. It just might be taking a little bit longer. Life is bringing it to them. And maybe they're not ready for it, or maybe, they're further along. Maybe, if we talk a lot about food, I know, but maybe they're just ready to take the next step toward, you know, just stopping eating animals, and you're already like juicing and going crazy. Well, they're not ready for that. So you have to, just slow down and let them take those baby steps to catch up and let them be where they are. And I think that's where a lot of the virtues comes in, with practicing patience and kindness, and no matter where they're at and no matter who it is, just being that light and not running out and saying you have to stop or you're doing something wrong, even if that's the truth, that's not going to help. So have to be really vigilant, like I said, really
yeah.
aware. It's all about our inner awareness, our self-awareness, I
r-
think.
Right. Yeah. Beautifully said. And you touched on a great point of trust, because that's ultimately what it comes down to when we try and control the situation, and or control someone else or steer them in that direction. We're not trusting the process, we're not trusting the plan, we're not trusting in God, because everything is perfect exactly as it is.
Exactly.
And it can be hard when we see people that we love who are in pain or suffering, often due to their, I mean, always due to their own inaction or their own decisions. But that pain is perfect for them. It's the perfect
Mm-hmm.
catalyst to provide them an opportunity to say, you know what, I'm tired of this pain. I'm tired of feeling this way. And
Exactly.
it might not be in that exact time. It might require more, but
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not for us to decide, not for us to try and change. And
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, and when we actually try and steer that, and it's a form of manipulation to try and make that happen on a different timeline, but
Mm-hmm.
we're actually robbing that individual of their learning experience. We're yeah, we're not giving them an opportunity to have their training wheel period, or their time where they're discovering on that particular moment. We're trying to bypass those steps, which is ultimately going to be counterproductive. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
so
That's
it's
true. I like, yeah, you said we're doing it. We're trying to like impose our will on them, and it's yeah, it's so egoic to think like, well, I know better, because really all this trying to control, it's not coming from your higher self. It's coming from the ego, from fear. So even if you're awake to a certain level, you still kind of have to transcend to a now, okay, go to the next level where you're accepting where people are at. And yeah, it's hard to see when they're suffering, but just think back to how much you've suffered to get to where you are. I know I had to suffer for years and years, and like, you're banging your head against the wall and like nothing's working. And finally, after so long, you stop banging your head against the wall. But it took a long time. And that's what I had to go through. You had to go, I mean, many of us. And so we have to let them go. And yeah, it is hard when they make those decisions. But, you know, one thing is nothing is etched in stone. They can change if they've made a decision. If they've taken actions that have affected their health. There's nothing that the power of God, the power of nature, when you start to make those righteous choices, cannot heal, cannot undo. So there's nothing to truly be afraid of. And as we know, even death is not the end. So we have to just surrender. Otherwise, we're the only ones who suffer. So if we
Yeah.
want that inner peace, we got to do it.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. When we try and manipulate the situation, we actually incur karmic karmic response where we have to learn some lessons on not trying to steer people. So it's counterproductive for our own journey as well. Yeah, and just touching on the virtues and being of service, I love how both Charlie and Josh and many others have mentioned how that's really the key to this creation is when we truly embody those virtues in every regard and are acting in service, then that's how we move through this experience with ease. And we get to choose whether we experience this because it's all just a learning experience, right? So we get to experience whether that is full of hardship and powerful lessons and struggle and difficulty, or is it going to be full of ease and flow? And each and every moment we get to decide what flavor am I going to take today, and
Exactly.
it all comes down to the virtues and being of service. So I don't know if
Hmm.
you want to expand on that at all.
Yeah, definitely. The virtues have been so transformative. I had never heard anybody speak about that. And when I tried it out, yeah, I just loved them and became so passionate, which is why I have that whole series I started. But it's true, when you focus on serving others, you can't be unhappy. If you think about all the times you've ever been miserable or depressed or sad or fearful, it's all because you were thinking about me, me, me. Even if you were worried about losing a loved one, you might think, well, I was concerned for them, but it was me who was going to lose them and I would then be sad. So you can't really be unhappy when you're focused on others, when you're focused on being kind, when you're focused on serving, when you're doing charity, which is one of the virtues. It's only when you get into that, false identity, and you start thinking only of this false self, that you start to suffer. So if you become aware of that and shift your focus toward the other and toward serving, then you'll notice your life will change, and you won't feel like, as whatever, depressed or sad or whatever, it
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, because when we act in this service to self only, when we're not acting in service to others, we're just buying into this separation illusion that we are
Mm,
somehow separate, and that is
yeah.
the grand illusion, that is the false reality that our ego likes to keep us in because that's the only place that it can survive. So when we step outside of that and recognize that, by serving you, I serve the creation, I serve the creator, and just continue down this path of every opportunity is another chance to serve. And of course, it only makes sense that as as this creation is set up, it's designed to be expansive. It's designed to be creative and ever growing. So of course it's going to have mechanisms in place to where when you serve the creation, it's only going to reward that. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just this, we can choose to learn the parameters and how this creation is set up or not. But when you do, you really can unlock that next level of participation with it, and again flow through this experience with much more ease and expansiveness rather than the constant like, oh, I've got to learn this lesson. I'm hit this brick wall. I've got to do this and that. But it doesn't have to be that way, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, you kind of get the like the manual for life, which a lot of us didn't have. We've just been running around trying to figure it out, and now we finally get it. And yeah, you can definitely play with it and shift your focus to, it is all energy. And when you do put that positivity out there, when you are kind, when you are loving, it comes back to you. Absolutely, it does. That's something the virtues have really helped me to see is the energy play, and you start to play with it and have fun with it and see, and you aren't doing it to get anything. You're doing it, when you're present. You're just doing it because that's what your true nature is to be love and kindness and caring and patience. And you see that the other beings truly are you, and you get so many rewards. And that's something I started to do just every day, is write down what are the gifts that life is bringing to me, and put your attention onto that. And really pay attention to what's going on with your life. And so you just gradually are shifting your perspective from the physical to the spiritual, or you can call it energetic side, because that's really is the reality that we're living in. And a lot of it has to do, yeah, you start to see it and become sensitive as you progress and as you clean up your diet, which we can also touch on. I haven't done a lot on diet on my channel, but that is also a very important component and has been a huge part of my journey as well.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly touching on gratitude, shifting that perspective on recognizing the gifts that you are receiving and the miracles that are happening on a regular basis. When you shift that perspective into gratitude, then you can't help but notice how often they do actually occur, and then they do occur even more often. It is just this constant reciprocating of getting better and better and better. But as soon as we let the mind wander in and we start getting into that separation illusion and thinking, oh, woe is me on whatever happened, then it creates the opposite effect. And it's all just for us to learn. It's all for us to get out of that funk.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd be happy to touch on diet and kind of your experience and journey with that, or kind of where you want to take your channel in that subject.
Yeah, I'm happy to share. I think a lot of people struggle with the transition once they do kind of get the information about the importance of diet and what they should be eating. Then it comes down to like, well, how do I do it? So that might be something for the future to talk about, as well as, the mind games that get involved with wanting to jump too quickly and thinking like I have to be perfect, and it isn't really feasible, and we need to kind of take it slow and let our body adapt and change and just do the best we can. And because it seems like everything along the way on the spiritual journey, there's a potential for like a consciousness trap or an ego trap, for the ego to come in and try and use that. So it can do that with food and say like, well, fruit is best, for example, but you're switching over to just being vegan, and that's not enough. You need to switch now. And it's like, no, you need to go slow, do your best with where you're at. Maybe you don't have access to a lot of fruits or something, so that's not possible right now, but start taking action to move toward where you want to go. So there's a lot of, and then also wanting to, again, like we talked about, wake people up, get our family and friends to eat the way we do. And there's all kinds of traps along the way. But yeah, food is so important, and nobody ever made that connection to me until I kind of found you guys and realized I kind of was putting two and two together. I realized my life started to take off and I started to really grow spiritually once I stopped eating animals. But I never was told that, the body is this like vessel to connect to consciousness, and you need to really purify it. And nobody made that connection for me. So if we can spread that message to people and help them, it's one of the easiest and simplest little things you can just tweak in your life, and it will start to take off. I'm sure you've had that experience as well, and especially being on juice. I think I totaled it up like almost 200 days of juicing within 2 years, over a 2-year period. Once I finally started juicing, once I found John Rose, he was the one who got me into it, and it's just been a part of my everyday life. And yeah, I just keep getting cleaner and cleaner and cleaner the more I progress. It's like you can eat less and less and less, but it's good because the rewards are there. You immediately start to see the rewards. So if people are looking for something small they can do and actually start to see the effects, just start cleaning up your diet and start paying attention then to what happens in your life. And I think you'll be amazed, because it can't not work, because this vessel is designed to be like this. and to be connected to spirit. And when we clean it, it's like so thankful, and it just starts to light up, and we just start to ascend, it's that simple.
Yeah, the diet is such a foundational piece. It's like in the book of Matthew where Jesus speaks of John the Baptist being the greatest in that time, which was an allegory to say that the physical, the five senses, that has to be addressed first. We've got to clean up the body first before we can start to ascend into the higher realms. Because if we have these blocks, these physical blocks, you can't really go much further. You're always rooted down in that physical reality. If you're consuming death and things of that nature, you can't go through that life cycle. And so yeah, it's vital for us to step into this realization and go on this path and truly clean up our way of being and return to the garden in all sorts of ways. And you touched on a great point on judgment and judgment of ourselves and judgment of others for not being in a particular space in the diet, or knowing that, hey, I should be eating all fruit, but here I am having a having broccoli or something like that. it's, it,
I
you know
know, it's
it
crazy how we judge ourselves for eating broccoli.
yeah,
Like,
it's funny how we can get into these mindsets, but those are powerful reminders that we do need to honor where we are and trust that everything is happening for a reason. So even if I bought, say like I caved and bought a bag of potato chips at the store, like I needed to experience that particular experience to
mm-hmm,
to know what those potato chips would do for me, and it was perfect for that moment. And
exactly.
I haven't tried that in a while. I imagine if I would, it would probably experience I would probably experience a lot of pain in
Mm-hmm,
my gut, and it would be a perfect little tangible reminder of like, oh, this is the path that I'm on, and this is why I needed to experience that as a physical reminder, but not to beat myself up for having that experience, because then
exactly.
we can get caught in that, and it just ends up driving us away. Um,
Yeah, it goes back to everything is happening for us, right? So even that experience happened for you. I found that, yeah, because sometimes we have with food the memory of what something tasted like or some emotion tied to it, and we want to re-experience that. And so the mind is saying, like, go eat that thing. And when we eat it after we've cleaned up our body, yeah, it either doesn't taste good or we feel awful. And that just makes it so easy to drop that craving or to drop that food from your life, and that is a huge gift to no longer desire that. So that experience was a gift for you from life to move you forward, but it's only the mind that says, like, you're bad, you're wrong, you relapsed, you messed up, you did something, don't you know what this does to your body. It's only the mind that judges everything. But if you can step out of the mind, you see everything is perfect, and life is just giving you, it's just an experience, like you said, all experience after experience for you to grow and to progress. And if you can see that and shift your awareness into that way of seeing life, then it'll set you free, and you can then actually have gratitude for these experiences instead of beating yourself up over them and having that constant self-judgment, which is just awful.
yeah, I mean, that's real alchemy right there. And isn't it amazing how, I mean, and you mentioned going back to gratitude, how it all fits together. It's all just this perfectly fitting puzzle that once we figure out the pieces and start playing with it, it really does. The truth is so simple, and it makes so much sense. And
Hmm.
all we have to do is just walk it. And um, so yeah, yeah, amazing. So with your channel, do you have any ideas or things that you want to move forward with, or anything else you want to touch on as far as like what that's all about?
Um, yeah, I mean, my channel's just very organic. I don't have any like grand plans. I don't, do anything fancy or, try and promote it or anything. I figure, like you said, the people that are meant to find me will find me. And I don't need to try and, push it out there and like force anything on anyone, or, and it's not about numbers. It's, because if you just affect a few small group of people and they really are committed and they put in the work, that is going to have such a transformative effect versus having, a million followers who are just kind of lackluster and just watch your videos for entertainment and are, not really interested. So, I love being able to help people, and it's so rewarding when people do come to you and they take something that you say and they take action on it and they put in the work and it helps them. That's the most rewarding part of all. So anytime I can do that, it's just so rewarding. So I don't have any grand plans, and especially now with the baby, my time is even more limited. But I know that that's all perfect. And if somebody feel free to reach out to me there, email, Telegram, Instagram, whatever. If you have an issue, even if it's just one person, I'm happy to make a video for that one person. And, you never know who that might help, because if their one person is experiencing it, maybe 10 other people need to hear it and they didn't have the courage to reach out, or they just didn't know about you. So yeah, any way I can help out, any video I can make, any experience I have that I've gone through that can help people, I'm so happy to share. I'm like, there's nothing that I need to like hold back, or secrets I need to have, like, oh, what will people think of me? Or, it's like, no, this all happened for a reason. And if one of those reasons isn't now it can help people, then that's beautiful, to be able to share that with other people.
Yeah, I love that. And not having any sort of plan is helpful to stay out of this, facts, figures, and logic, trying to figure everything out, being
Exactly.
left brain, and just really trusting that God's going to provide you with who you need to speak to, who you need to reach, and how you need to serve in each and every moment. And we just get to show up. We just get to show up and say, okay, I'm
Exactly.
ready for it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's just pure, like, if I feel the passion or the desire to share something, I have to, live honestly and share that. And, so anything that strikes me, I will make a video on. And, the channel is also like everything in life, it's a spiritual practice. So, if I feel like, oh, I haven't posted anything in a month, then the mind starts going, okay, that's your spiritual practice. Be aware of that. Be aware that the mind is judging and saying you need to produce content, or you need to this. Or even when I upload videos, it'll like randomly select a thumbnail. And sometimes, I'm like, oh, that thumbnail looks awful. What is that face I'm making? And that's like, okay, there's the ego saying, like, I need to look a certain way. And what will people think of me? And that's a practice for me to observe that and to be like, no, I'm going to post that picture and I don't care. And of course, nobody cares. It's all, we're like so self-obsessed that we think everybody's focusing on us. Nobody probably even notices. But it's a good practice to just continuously like kill the ego, and be aware, and move forward and not get into these traps. Because yeah, I've heard people say like YouTube is so hard. And I've noticed, yeah, it is hard if you're trying to force all this stuff, and if you're trying to be perfect and cultivate your image. And I noticed so many YouTube videos now, they're like movies and TV shows. Like, you have to have jump cuts and sound effects to keep people interested. And yeah, that's exhausting trying to produce content like that. But, I think also when you sit down and you speak from the heart, you can speak for, 20 minutes, or, we've even seen Charlie like go for an hour, and you're like enthralled because you're so resonated with your heart. You connect with this person. And so that's, I want to be real. I don't want it to be like that. Yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at. And of course, who has the time? I don't want to waste my
Right.
life on a computer, editing stuff and putting music in just to entertain other people's minds, which is really what it is, what it's for. I'd rather be out in the garden. So
Yeah, I mean, just trying to please everyone or entertain people. It comes from that lack mentality, or that fear mentality, that no one's going to appreciate me, or no one's going to want to hear what I have to say, or I'm not going to get any viewers or whatever else, instead of coming from that space of abundance where it's like, I have this message to share, and I feel called to share it, and I don't really care who sees it. It doesn't matter, because it's not about who, and bringing people in. It's just about the message. And
hmm
that's why I've reiterated that it wouldn't matter if every single person dropped away from my channel. It wouldn't matter if I lost every single person to listen to
exactly.
me. I'd still be saying the same thing. I'd still be doing the same stuff, and that's the kind of mentality that really propels me to continue, and keeps me from getting into these mind chatter games, or wanting to make everything polished. And it's reciprocated within this community of just absolutely amazing souls, because no one really cares about the polished look in this community, which is
Exactly.
just amazing. So like, I get to have all these shows, and they're all live, which means I have to do zero editing, it's automatically gone up there. I just get to show up and have beautiful conversations with beautiful souls like yourself, and everyone else just gets to participate and chime in and be a part of this. And that's what creates this harmonious, you know, just beautiful community that's really so, it's so special. It truly is so special.
It
So
is, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's how simple and easy life can be when you align, when you get out of the mind and you just align with life, because all our problems come from our mind pretty much. So life can be easy, it can flow.
Mhm.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I was responding to a comment the other day, someone saying how it doesn't really matter what we do. We can either eat meat or or not. It doesn't matter. It's all just a wash. And I was like, yeah, I mean, free will is absolute. It's true. We can do whatever we want, but karma and natural law is also absolute. So we get to choose
True.
to navigate through this experience with ease or dis-ease. We get to have a bountiful experience where I get to flow creatively, abundantly, and expansively, or I get to have a series of karmic lessons that's constantly bombarding me with these reminders to get back on the path. And so that's the choice. We have free will to navigate within that at any point, but I get to choose what that experience is like in each and every moment, or not. But if I'm not choosing, someone's going to choose for me, and that's where we have to get back to that space of responsibility and say, you know what, I take ownership of me, I take ownership of what I'm doing, and where I'm pointing my conscious intent, and recognize that I am powerful, and how I point that. And um, so yeah, it's all just figuring out how to play this game and play it well.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, having that awareness is key, because sometimes you may not feel like, doing the right thing, but there's going to be a lesson for you if you don't. And so maybe you're not in the most loving mood, but even if you just do it out of selfish reasons, that's okay. Just do it, do the right thing, even if it's just to avoid that karmic lesson,
Mhm.
because you'll be rewarded for, taking the right action.
Yep, yep, absolutely. But that is a high pitfall as well, because we can't be doing the actions in order to attain the rewards, because that's an ego trap to say, like, hey,
Right.
it can't be with the expectation of the reward, just with the knowingness that if I do stay on this path, the rewards are just built into it.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and so I wanted to mention as well, JoAnne had a beautiful idea. It was months ago at this point, where we had a show on my channel called Awakening and Relationships. And this was an incredible show and had a lot of great feedback, where we had a whole panel of guests on, to talk about their relationships and this awakening journey and things of that nature. Um, so I just wanted to mention that I do want to boot that back up again, at some point. And I know, JoAnne, she said if she's available, she would be happy to join as well. Um, but just wanted to put that out there, for anyone listening in. Um, if you are interested on being on a show like that, to please get in contact with me, in some way or another, messenger or email understandingtruth@gmail.com, because we'd love to have that be, an interactive conversation with lots of people. And um, so just wanted to throw that out there. Did you have any thoughts or feelings on
No,
that one?
yeah, for sure. That show was amazing. And like I said, I love talking about relationships, and I'd hoped to do more shows, but didn't get to it before the baby. So yeah, if there's people that are interested, let's do it. If I can join, I would be happy to. If not, let's run with it. Let's help as many people as possible, do as many shows as we can. And it's a wonderful opportunity, to see and to share that stuff. So yeah, I hope you're able to do that, and I hope a
Yeah.
lot of people can join. I know, if anybody's like hesitant to share, like just, I know you want to keep like a lot of privacy, especially if your partner, if it's about your partner or your family, are are not on this journey, or you want to keep privacy, but it's about you. It's not about, it's not about the other person, really. Nothing ever truly is. Because if you shift yourself, your relationship will shift, and it's about your own growth. So it's not about coming on and, judging your partner, or, sharing any details that they might not want shared, but it's about, your own growth. So if you're thinking about it, definitely do it, because we're all just here to help each other. We've all gone through many things. For those who don't know, like, I am married. My husband is not on this journey with me, but it's fine. We've found peace in our relationship, and we love each other, and I love him and accept him where he is, and he accepts me even though he thinks I do a lot of crazy things. um, but it's okay, and so it is possible. I'm very passionate about that it is possible to find that peace when you disagree, or when you're at different areas of awareness with your partner and even with your family and friends. It's totally possible. We don't have to suffer. So if we can, help people get through those blocks and find some peace, then it's all worth it.
Yep. Yeah, just cultivate those connections. That's what we're here to do. Cool. Well, this has been a fantastic conversation, JoAnne. Did you have anything you wanted to get into, or closing comments, or anything else you wanted to touch on?
I mean, I guess just the main thing with me is I'm about focusing on the solutions and, going and doing the inner work. I love, dealing with the mind and the ego games, and, figuring out what actual concrete steps we can take to progress in life and to progress in our awareness. So if that resonates with you, then yeah, it definitely get in touch with me, follow my channel, and we'll just help each other as much as we can. It's about, like, I love how you said, being approachable, because yeah, I've noticed the same thing. I really liked how you said that people, they just, say, oh, I love my followers. I love you. I want to connect with you. We're all a family. They call each other whatever they want. But it's like, at the end of the day, you can never, like, contact that person or connect with them or get to truly know them. And I think, having this platform and also having it be small, which is nice, and not having those million followers, it gives you that opportunity to connect with people. So I am totally open as my schedule, permits, to talk to people and help them, because we're all in this together, and we would just want to help people and be there as much as possible. So that's why my channel is there. That's why I'm here. And so anybody can feel free to reach out anytime.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for all that you do and all that you share and all that you are. I really appreciate it, and I know so many do. You've been receiving so much love in the chat, and yeah, it shows everywhere you go. So thank you, JoAnne. Thank you for this beautiful conversation. And yeah, for anyone listening in, you can find all JoAnne's information in the show notes. So if you want to get in contact with her or find your channel, make sure you go subscribe there so you can keep up with all the new videos.
Yeah,
And
let's
yeah,
keep uplifting each other. Justin
yeah,
uplifted me, and if I can pay it forward, then I'll uplift you, and who knows who you'll uplift next. So we're just gonna keep, creating this chain reaction of awesomeness. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, this has been amazing. All right, JoAnne. Well, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and
Thank
always
you.
always enjoy conversing with you. And yeah, until next time.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking again soon. Thank you.
Yeah, love you, sister. Love you, everybody.